Hello, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. Today, I'm joined by Troy. Troy is the CEO and founder of Riddari Security. Troy, please introduce yourself for a listener who might not be familiar with Riddari. Could you please share a bit about your journey into the security industry and what led you to start Riddari Security, please?
Oh, well, I've been in the industry about 24 years officially now, 26 years unofficially. Started out when I was 18. I got my security license and started doing just small things, working at clubs and events and stuff like that, nothing crazy. And then as I progressed with it, I got my private investigator's license when I was about 25, 26 and then did that for a number of years, doing strike litigations, WSIB investigations, insurance fraud, corporate investigations, undercover work. So it was a great time. And then got into being a security manager with a number of companies and people asking me to help them out with bars and clubs and stuff. So I would go in and help clean up the clientele for new owner takeovers and stuff like that, and just helping them with their rebranding. And then it got to a point where I couldn't do it all myself. So I would refer friends to that I knew could do the work as adequately as I could. And then one day I came and across a friend of mine that turned out to be my business partner because he said, if you're going to be referring people, you may as well make a cut of it as well. And so him and I got together and we opened up Riddari Security in 2018 and haven't looked back since. So we've had our ups and downs, of course, with COVID being the up for us, and then rebranding and restarting in 2023, 2022, 2023, once everything's settled, because a lot of businesses, because of COVID, had depleted their extra funds and resources. So we had to rebrand and make our business model affordable for not only medium and large businesses, but small businesses as well, which is something I always wanted to do from the beginning because I believe everybody should be able to afford and use security. And then we took it from there, and it's been quite beneficial from there. It's a market that's not really tapped into.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Just you just beat me to the point. You said on the last chat that the COVID was like starting the business over again. I think you touched a little bit on that. Can you
Mhm.
elaborate a little bit on how that period shaped with direct current strategy and service offering? Like, I think I saw on your card, like a la carte, mobile patrol, or concierge service. Can you just go a little bit deeper on that?
Yeah, so we offer security guards, mobile patrol, artificial intelligence, which is just an overlay on your existing security system, a surveillance system, making all your cameras proactive, removing that guard sitting there and possibly watching your cameras 24/7, because a person can become complacent after about 5 minutes of watching cameras. AI doesn't become complacent. And when something happens, it sends an alert to either our mobile patrol or a guard on site. They can see if the event's actionable or not and go from there. COVID, for a lot of people, as you know, was a shutdown and a lockdown. When it comes to certain industries like security, first responders, hospitals, essential services like grocery stores, variety stores, and stuff like that, it picked up. But we had that population control that had to be monitored and done. So that's where security came into a large play, was making sure that grocery stores only had so many people in at a time. Same with other stores like the LCBO beer store that still remained open, or other services like variety stores and what have you. So our services ramped up, and we had one client reach out to us and ask if we could cover a few of their sites locally in the London, Ontario area. And we said, yeah, not a problem. How soon do you need it by? And they're like, we need it by tomorrow morning. And I was like, yep, that's not a problem. This was 5 o'clock at night the night before. And me and my partner made a few calls, and they were impressed with how fast we were able to get it done. So they just kept giving us more and more sites. It didn't matter if we were up in Collingwood, North Bay, Goderich, London, GTA, east of Toronto. Didn't matter where it was, we were able to find people because security is our product. And any business that produces a product They need their goal is to deliver the best product they can.
Yeah.
And how do you do that? You invest in your product. And that's what we do here at Riddari Security. We invest in our guards. They make a starting higher wage than our large competitors. They start $1 to $2 above minimum wage. It's it's really competitive in payment for our employees because they're the ones doing the work, right? So they're our brand and our image. So if they don't do a good job, the company as a whole doesn't do a good job. So we make
Mhm.
sure it's adequate for everybody, and it's really paid forward in that because regrowing the business after COVID was easier because people already saw our service and how we conducted during COVID. So it was great. It was a great experience to say to get the silver lining from something that was such a hardship.
That's awesome. And also, that's one thing that really stood out from our conversation and just right now. It's your dedication to your guards, like paying them well, providing them with equipment and extensive training. How has this philosophy helped Redari differentiate itself from especially competing with larger fly-by-night companies that might cut corners, let's say?
And it's one thing you always have to look for when you're hiring a security company is do they have proper insurance?
Mm.
At least $2 million of liability insurance. We carry 5 plus. Do they have an active agency license? And how long have they been in business for? When we first started, it was a little bit harder because we were only in business for a couple of years. So it was word of mouth on my experience alone. And I was doing a lot of the work. And I still do a lot of the work, field work now, because I like to have a hands on approach. But we supply our guards with, depending on the site and the equipment, they have everything from if it's just a site where we're doing maintenance checks and health and safety checks, it's just a standard uniform. So what you see of black pants, our nice blue golf shirts, and a jacket in the wintertime or what have you. And then as you progress with our services, they might have more equipment. So if it's medium risk to high risk, you'll start seeing guards carrying body cams or vests or batons, handcuffs, all the equipment needed to do the job adequately. When it comes to our mobile patrol, our philosophy is double occupancy for the sheer fact police sit in vehicles now double occupancy, so should we. If they don't feel safe responding to calls by themselves when they have far more equipment than we do, we shouldn't be protecting sites or doing mobile patrol alone. You always want to have that backup right there that can make the phone call if something were to go sideways or wrong. And that's what we do. And it also helps with the guards. They're not sitting there by themselves all night. They have somebody to interact with, right? So it helps them stay awake for long shifts and everything, and it goes a long way. That and having the paying the guards more and paying them a rate that they deserve to have also provides us with more committed employees. So another thing that happens with a lot of security companies, if they get a site that's long term, they don't schedule ahead. They just send out whoever, whenever. And clients get upset with that because they're not getting a consistency of the same guard that knows the site, knows all the nooks and crannies of where people hide. We provide the same guards week in and week out. So once we start with a new client, we get a couple of guys out there, and it might take a couple weeks to get the right person for the site. But once we find those right people, those are the ones that are there week after week. If they have a sick day or require time off, that's where it might change up a little bit. But that's the client expects, right? But other than that, you got the same people coming in. You get to know your guard. Your guards get to know you. They get to know the lay of the land. They get to know everybody else, and that goes a long way as well, appeasing the clients. Personally, myself, when I first started in the industry 22 years ago, we or 24 years ago, sorry, we were properly trained. We sat in a room and got familiarized with the sites that we're going to. We got a hands-on at the site with a manager that or a supervisor that's familiar with the site. We got a little bit of orientation. That started to go away over time. and they would just say, "Hey, you got a license? Okay, go to this address. This is what I need you to do." There was no training. There was no anything. They just throw them feet first in the water and see if they sink or swim, right?
Yeah.
And then people wonder why the guards aren't at the caliber that they used to be because they don't have the experience. And then that there's also a higher turnover in guards nowadays in the ministry system. That doesn't help when you find ones that are long term and everything like that. Those are the ones that you've invested in and and bring into the industry. I'm a firm believer that working in security is great for a stepping stone to any career choice that you want to go into because it teaches you articulation, engagement, how to deal with people, how to handle high stress situations, all the tools needed to be a good manager or a good supervisor. So it's a great industry to start off with and helping you learn and develop your skills.
That's awesome.
I've had a couple of guards move on to the Ontario Provincial Police. I've had one move on to there. I've had another guard. He's moved on to, I'm not sure if it's the Quebec Provincial Police or another division, but he's working up in way northern Quebec. Uh, it was something that he wanted to do. And I told him, I go, it's a great thing to do because it'll fast track your experience because you're going to be dealing with everything and anything up there. And it's going to be you because you got nobody else to help you out with it. He was articulate. He was able to handle any situation I was able to throw at him anyways. He was very articulate. He was had the gift for gab, able to win people over and get them to his line of thinking. And seeing his skills develop over those 2 years was fantastic. And right out of the gates of graduation, within a month, 2 months of graduating. He had landed that job. The skills that he had acquired and developed, he was not just able to talk the talk of what he learned, but he was also able to walk the walk from building up 2 years of experience and understanding. So it was great.
That's really fantastic. And it looks like you guys kept keeping contact with each other. So that's really awesome. You also mentioned on the last conversation, like convincing new clients, particularly when they initially focus on hourly rates. How do you convey Ridari superior value and integrity to potential clients who might be price sensitive, let's say?
Well, that's where I go into my sales experience. I did sales for a number of years when I was younger,
Yep.
working at the bars at night, doing door to door sales and other things during the day. I love the grind and keep busy. And basically, I find out what the client's currently having issues with. So if they don't have a security company, it's telling them, okay, so I'm going to give you the tools and the understanding of what to look for to make sure that you get an adequate security company
Hmm.
that will cover the needs that you want. Because this is what's happening at your site. You're getting vandalism. You're having vagrants falling asleep on your back stoop or what have you. You're having graffiti painted everywhere, whatever the issues is, people doing drugs on your property. You want a security company that will be able to handle those situations and help the community at the same time, right? Talk to them, treat them like a real person. Don't talk down to them. Don't scream and yell at them. Because I always tell our guards, as soon as you show emotion when you're dealing with a situation, you've lost. You stay there, stone face, you repeat what you're requesting of them. They can scream and yell at you and call you everything they want, but you just remain cordial and say, "Look, everything that you said, I understand. It doesn't change the fact that you have to leave. Please leave." When you keep that kind of monotone and calm demeanor, it brings the other person down. Want. And when you're not responding to what they want, they don't know how to react. So they comply.
Hmm.
And this is what I tell the clients. I go, this is how you want your guards to deal with these situations. These are the kind of answers that you want from any security company that you choose. Please don't choose a company solely based on their bill rate. Typically, 9 times out of 10, it wins the bid, or they go with somebody else. But who they go with is a strong competitor, and I'm happy that they made a good choice and not just going with the lowest bidder. because that's what happens a lot nowadays. They go with the lowest bidder. Stuff still happens. Now they're out the money that they had paid for the security guards for the number of months. And I look at it, I go, you're not a client. We're a partner. We're working together. We're here for the long term. We're here for to help you for as long as you need us. And then and we'll make sure that we're always supplying you the same guard. If I'm dealing with a client that already has a security service, I ask them, I go, okay, so why are you shopping around for security companies? Are
Mhm.
you just looking to make sure that you're getting a fair market value? Or is there something happening from your current provider that you're not satisfied with? And they'll tell me different things about the guards are continually being found sleeping, or they're not responding to alarms, or they're taking constant breaks. When you do see them eating lunch in the office, when you get the report the next day, are they on their lunch break? I go, because in this industry, we don't get a break. We set it a lot of time where we go to eat, but if something happens when they started their break in their report, are they cutting their break or eating into their break to go and respond to that? Or are they remaining on their break because they're on their personal time? And depending on what the client says from there, I'm going to give you our hourly rate of XYZ. Okay. Is that something that can work with you? And they're like, well, that's more expensive than my current provider. I'm like, I understand. Are you satisfied with your current provider? We've already established that you're not. So if you're not satisfied with your current provider for the current rates, what makes you think that paying the same rate again is going to get you a better quality employee? I just sit back and wait and and let them do their thing, and then they generally come back and they go, "Nope, that's absolutely right. Let's see what you got to prove." And I go, "Okay." Depending on the client and what services they need, we can start as soon as tomorrow for you, or we can take about 2 weeks to get started up. So that way I can get the proper equipment set in place for the guard. I can bring a couple of guards around the site, show them around, make sure it's something that they feel comfortable dealing with for the size of your property or what have you, and go from there and give them soft training and give them the on the if they're a new employee, the standardized training of how we write our reports. If it's an existing employee, it's just showing them the site and getting them used to the site, because what we do from site to site remains the same. And what I like to do is I like to take our guards that work our events. If they're a good guard at the events, I bump them up from the event work to part-time work. And if they're really good at, if they continue to perform and do good work and action what I teach them, then they go on the full-time work. I'm always about promoting within. I hate hiring any position off the street as much as possible, because I like people that know our mentality, know how we work. And that's what keeps the clients happy. And then once they're working with us, they notice the difference right away. Like, I've had a client that has started and stopped service with us a number of times. And every time they stop service, all of a sudden they're having issues again. They're like, why am I having issues all of a sudden again? I'm like, because people notice when security is not around. And now they know it's a safe place to hunker down and hide out. And you're saving yourself money from not getting that broken window again or having to repaint your building again because of something that happened. And they're like, no, yeah, that makes total sense. And a lot of my mobile patrol clients now I've had for 3, 4, 5, 6 years, and they're happy with the service and they don't want to utilize anybody else. And there are even clients that give me references for when I'm going to bid with new clients. They're like, yep, they can call me anytime and I'll give you a glowing reference. And I'm like, okay, thanks. I really appreciate that, because that goes a long way. So it's the selling it. I've never been a pushy salesperson. I just want to make sure that you're making an informed decision. So if you decide to go with us, fantastic. We're going to do great things together. If you don't decide to go with us, at least go with somebody knowing what to look for in that company that satisfies your needs and that you're happy at the end of the day. And a lot of times that transparency and integrity wins us jobs.
That's awesome. Like, you wasn't even trying to sell me your business, but if I was the one getting sold right now, I would be, hey, where do I sign? Where do I sign? Because you can we can feel it like you actually genuine. You want to help people. Of course, you have a business, but like you said, you're not here to like just sell people things to sell them. Like you want actually to help them, which is awesome. You share on that Riddari has been doubling its hours work year after year since COVID, right? Which is
That's
incredible.
correct.
Which is incredible. What are some key drivers behind this growth, and what are the main objective in the 6 to 12 months?
Well, in this industry, a lot of the work is based on referrals and building relationships with people. I would like to contribute what's called the London Executive Association. So it's a networking organization that's about 80 to 100 businesses locally to the London area. And our motto is remember a member. So we refer and we promote each other. So if I have a client that's says, "Oh man, I got a problem with my car and I don't know where to go," I go like, "Oh, I got a guy for you," and I refer him to my buddy that I'm in the group with or in the organization with, and he does the same for me. And we're all like-minded individuals. We all have the same persona that we're not here to make money. Making money is a byproduct of integrity. So when you take pride in your business and you take responsibility for your clients and your customers, it's what builds you. And there's companies in there that are mom and pop shops and small corporations right up to large conglomerates in that group. And when I came in, they didn't have a security company in the organization. And each company takes up one category. So there's no duplicate company categories. So I'm the only security provider in the group. And what they've learned and understood about the security industry that they didn't necessarily know before was amazing. And the referrals that I've gotten within that organization and the friendships that I've made is uncomparable. And that's why I say to any new business that wants to start up and everything like that is look at networking groups, organizations such as that, business networking, and find ones that are in there to support one another in their growth, no matter if they're big or small, and have the same like-mindedness as you do with your business, and it will take you a long way. It's all about the networking and the referring that in this industry. That's one of the reasons why you don't see a lot of security commercials out there on Super Bowl or anything else, right? It's all word of mouth and what people see in the paper. We get a lot of free publicity because of news, because of social media. So I always tell people you're always on camera, no matter if you realize it or not. So always act the same with the same integrity, the same respect. My motto is a person starts with 100% trust and 100% respect. I will literally tell somebody that when I'm dealing with them. I'm giving you the utmost respect while I'm here. Okay. Your behavior dictates how much respect I continue to give you. Okay. So you can either respect my decision as I'm respecting you right now and
Mhm.
leave. We're not ones that get triggered. We're the ones holding all the cards. There's nothing to fire at me.
Mhm.
The old saying of no news is good news. And in our industry, the less you see about a security company's background for the number of years that they've been in business speaks volumes.
That's awesome. Talking about client acquisition, you mentioned for the first time this year that you were looking into cold calling to grow beyond referrals. Is that right? Let's say we're in the magical world. If you had a magic wand to fix just one thing that's holding back Redari new client acquisition or showing or slowing down the growth, what would that one thing be?
That's a good question. It's really growth is what it is. Like it's always going to have its ups and downs, right?
Mhm.
And I never really make targets per se. I just try to make every year better than the last. And if that's getting one or two more clients, fantastic. If that's getting a dozen more clients, even better. I like to look at it in reflection of, okay, how long have we been sitting stagnant? If
Mhm.
we were always working something and something and having stuff in the pipeline, it's when you start going stagnant, you're not developing your business. That's when you've had enough of either the work that you're doing or you need to relook at your company as a whole and see if there's something that you need to do to get that growth. And what I'm looking at this year, I do my best work when I'm living on 4 hours of sleep a day. My brain's firing on all cylinders, but it gets to a point where there's work to be done and you can't do it all. So this year, like you mentioned there, we're looking at being more aggressive with our approach of acquisitions and building a larger client base. And that's going by not going by referrals or new business hearsay. It's by, like you said, cold calling, going out, putting boots on the ground. So this year, I'm really invested at looking and finding somebody look after our sales and accounts department. So building our client base and building more partners with us as clients and developing that further. Once that person starts developing it and growing that department, it will be something that they'll be able to head and then they'll be able to hire staff underneath of them. So it would be a position that would grow fast for them, depending on how much initiative they have and growth and experience, right? It's hard to find somebody that has experience in sales and has experience working in security. The most important thing that I always look for is, are you teachable? Are you trainable? And do you reap what you sow? You, with what you're taught and everything else, is that what you put into practice? Or do you just let it go in one ear and out the other and still do your own thing and sit and make the same mistakes? Are you a person that learns from your mistakes? History is there for a reason. It's there to learn from. It's there to adapt from, adapt and overcome. The mistakes that there's no such thing as a mistake. They're learning tools. So when you any business owner will tell you, on this, 100 mistakes teaches you how to do it right. Right? So for every correct decision that you've ever made, that person has probably made 100 bad decisions, but they found 100 different ways on not to do something. So now they know how to do it. And once you learn that formula on what needs to be done to progress, there's not much that can stop you. Like look at the Elon Musks, the Bezos. They don't take no for an answer, right? They just look for new ways to find a yes. And that was one thing that I always learned when I was younger, because if a person doesn't understand what you're telling them, to say yes. So once you have somebody agreeing with you and saying yes, that means that you're catching the right points and what you're talking about, what you're selling, or what you're delivering. And that's what helps us with our growth. And that's why I think this year I'm hoping to double up again. It's looking like with some work that we're doing, we're on track for that. So it will be good to get that growth. But also with our industry, growth goes with politics and society, right?
Yep.
So when there's more crime out there, there's more security work to do. When there's less crime, there's less security work. Which world would I rather be in? I'd rather put myself out of business than have more work, because that means that everybody's doing everything right. Real in a logical sense, will we ever hit there? Probably not. Well, things always get worse before they get better. And it makes me think of a saying that always pops in my head of hard times make strong men make good times make weak men make hard times, and the cycle continues, right?
Yep.
And it's up to you to decide what portion we're in this day and age and where we're going. But I fear that the security industry is going to be more and more utilized in the next 5 to 10 years than not, in the direction that everything's going. And we're going to be ready to take on whatever our clients need.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Before my final question, for the listeners who are watching, if anybody needs your services, like where can they find you guys?
Well, we're based out of London, Ontario. So we're in the southwestern portion of the province, and we're able to service anywhere in the province of Ontario. So anywhere that you have a business or property that needs looking after, give us a shout, and we can look at assisting you. Our consultations are always free of charge, and you can take that information, do with it what you will. We do a lot of work down the 401 corridor and the Golden Horseshoe, the Windsor and Sarnia. So our outreach is really good. Our guards, we've gone over quite a bit. We have different levels of security guards with different talents, abilities, and experience. So depending on what your requirements are, that dictates our rates and the guards that we provide you. But they're all of quality work. They're all respectable. We have a employee handbook that we stand hard by. Uh, so, because it is a uniform, everybody looks and acts the same way. So you're getting that integrity like you would from any professional service like law enforcement or first responders, EMS, fire department, and stuff like that. It's conducive all the way down the line. And then our mobile patrol is a great service to use if you're a small or medium business. We do a la carte, and if you're looking for nightly patrols, we do equal billing. So you get the same billing month after month after month, and there's no hidden fees when we do the equal billing system for stats or anything like that. And a lot of times we'll even throw in one or two responses with that service. And that service also leads us into our artificial intelligence, which we look at taking your existing cameras, making them proactive for a very small fee a year. It watches for, say, intruder detection. So if somebody comes into the yard of your business, it'll send an alert to our mobile patrol in that area, and they look to see if it's actionable or not. Is it an employee or is it somebody else? If it's somebody else, then we respond, and we're like in London, for instance, we can be anywhere in the city in about 10 to 15 minutes because traffic lights work in our favor and there's no traffic to deal with. And that corresponds together and it really accents each other. But that service even provide our AI even provides other services along with facial recognition for that, weapon detection, fire and smoke detection, slip and fall, theft detection. We have a whole a range of services that we can provide, making your cameras proactive so that you're getting a guard for full time, but you're only paying for a mobile patrol service. So it's only costing you a few dollars a day, and you're getting, if you're closed 12 hours a day, we can, from 7 till 4 a.m., we can turn on the AI, and you now got active security watching your cameras for that time. And if anything happens, it sends our mobile patrol an alert. We look to see if it's actionable and respond from there. It's a really unique service. It's tried, tested, and true service. It works great. Clients love it. The only fault is if you have a raccoon walking by upright, you'll think it's a human, or if you got a black bear or a brown bear walking by the camera upright. But our system gets rid of 99.9% of false alarms. So it's a great service to have, and our clients love using it. They love using it partnered with our mobile patrol or even our static guards, because it's now saved them the money of not having to pay for an extra guard. Or now they're using both guards for what their intended purposes are, instead of having one sitting at a desk all night watching cameras. They've got both of them on the floor, so their protection rate has doubled, and without any further investment, which they really like. So it's a win-win for everybody. And we're always open for conversations. I love talking to business owners or CEOs or managers and learning about their story and why they got into the industry they're doing, and then speaking about what the problems are that they're having, and discussing if security is actually an option that they need, or if they just need to tighten up in certain areas and better their service. Because it's not always about getting security, but at the end of the day, it's about securing your property. And a lot of times you can do that without having a security guard there, but sometimes it's necessary.
Awesome. There you go, people. If you go on the website Riddari Security, you can find all the details.
If you go to riddari.ca, you can find right there. You can find all of our details on there or contact us if you have any questions about getting into the industry or looking for a security company as a partner. And that goes for wherever you are. We're happy to help. It has our contact information at the bottom on our contact page. We even provide on our website security training online. So if you want to get your Ontario security guard license, you can go to our website and get it through there as well. It's a 40-hour course, and that gets you in the door for security. And then once you get hired with a company like mine, we'll give you the additional training and tools that you need to be successful in the industry. So yeah, it's a very informative webpage with more to come in the next year.
That's awesome. So my final question for you, Troy, you clearly you clearly are passionate about restoring the standard and the respect of the security profession. What role or do you see Riddari playing in the larger picture?
Well, there's a couple. Excuse me. There's a excuse me. There's a couple of things that that impact the industry. For a lot of years, when I first started, we were paid um, for if you worked with an adequate company of the $15 an hour, and that's what minimum wage was, $6 to $7 an hour. So we were paid well above minimum wage. Minimum wage kept going up, but security companies weren't raising the employee rate wages, and they weren't billing the clients more to reflect that. So it got us into a devil's advocate that when minimum wage got up to what security guards were paid, it now matched. So you now have an issue of why do people want to put in more effort into a job of high risk when they're getting paid minimum wage? So that was the first standard that I raised, was making sure that they're always paid above minimum wage, and our contracts reflect that, right? Um, so that way we can make sure that we're getting adequate employees, they're being treated fairly, they're being paid fairly, and they do the same in return. Because respect goes both ways, integrity goes both ways. The next thing that I'd like to do is getting security companies on the same page of adequately billing or charging fees. You have fly by nights charging $20 an hour for security and mobile patrol. Now, minimum wage in Ontario is 17.55 an hour. How are you providing a guard in a vehicle for 20 for and billing the client $20 an hour? The math doesn't math.
No, right.
So it's a red flag and something that I want to set a standard for. There's some places out there that the government has stepped in and said, look, guards have to be paid this much, private investigators have to be paid a minimum of this much, which in turn reflects the bill rate, sets a standard. Ontario, we don't have that standard. So it's one thing that I'm always pushing forward with the registrar's office and the Ministry of Public Safety, is that we have some sort of standardization when it comes to the industry. Do they have to consult with me? Can they consult with the big three security companies on what a standardization would be? Absolutely. Did I get the bug in their ear to pull the trigger? That's my goal. And then who knows? Maybe one day I'll be able to retire from doing this and start an actual security union, because the security companies that are unionized, they're not under a security union. They're under a manufacturers union or some trade union that doesn't necessarily understand how the security industry works or drives anything for the security industry. So starting a union that is specific to the security industry would also go help a long way to fix the first two problems that we have. And I think that that would be something down the road that I've always entertained in the back of my head. But that's a big moose to take on, right? That's a lot of work. Is that something that I would ultimately want to take on, or leave that as a something for somebody else younger than me that has a lot more time in the future to work on it, that has that ambition and wants to see the same direction, passing that torch on to them, giving them my experience, what happened before they were even in the industry, so that they can know what to do and what to drive that stick forward. And I think that's a stronger possibility than me taking it on myself. As much as I like to take on more work and make myself as stressful as possible, also know when to pick my battles. So that's pretty much the three things that I want to see done in my lifetime, anyways. Is that it gets back to being a respectable job. We can only do that one client at a time, and we can only do that one person at a time, one interaction at a time. The more people that give that deliverables and work that way, the faster we'll get there. So I'm hoping that if there's any other security companies that are listening today, they've put some thought into what I've said, and they're like-minded like me, and we can drive this thing forward and set a standard for everybody else. Thanks, Jenny, and it was a pleasure meeting you, and I thank you for reaching out and finding me. It's been a pleasure.
Of course, of course.